Hello students, so we are going to continue exercise 1.2. So 1.2, as I have already said, is a recap session of HCF, LCM, their properties and fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Okay, so let's do further. See the fourth question, given that HCF of 306 and 657 is 9, find the LCM of these two numbers. So two numbers are given, HCF is given, you have to find the LCM. So we can do in two ways. We can directly, the two numbers are given, you can find the LCM by prime factorization method. Second way, we can use a property. What does the property says? HCF into LCM equal to product of two numbers. Product of two numbers. So we have here HCF as 9 and LCM here. So product of two numbers is 306 into 657. So this 9 goes here, so directly we can find LCM. So I find that this is easier because that you have to find the prime factorization, so it is time consuming. So this is the best way. So we can cancel very easily. 9 7s are 63, so 2 here, so 9 3s are 27, so you multiply and you get your LCM. Correct? So see the marks and decide your steps. That is the best way. So we have used the property that HCF into LCM equal to product of two numbers. For 2 marks it may come. Very simple, right? Let's go to the next sum. Now next sum, I have not done exactly of the textbook, but I have taken the solved example so that you can solve the textual question on your own. Now here it is the solved example. Prove that there is no natural number. Prove that there is no natural number for which 4 raised to n ends with digit 0. Okay. Now this is a theoretical, which this has come for 2 marks, this has come for 3 marks, and it's very important. So what does it say? Let's analyze. They are saying that for no natural number n, so n is a natural number, it ends with digit 0. So if I take, one second. So if I take 4 raised to n, 4 raised to n, correct? And if I take n value as 1, what do I get? So I get 4, correct? If I take 4 square, n is 2, so I get 4 into 4, that is 16. If I take 4 cube, that is 4 into 4 into 4, so 4 4s are 16, 16 4s are 64. If I take 4 raised to 4, so 4 into 4 into 4, when I take 4 times, so I get 256, correct? So what do you understand? The pattern of 4 6 4 6 4 6 is repeating. So will there be any natural number n that the n digit you will get a 0? Is it possible? We know that's not possible. But how to mention it? How to write it? Or how to prove it? Before writing and doing this, let's see that when you will get 0. Let's think this way. Okay, what is the possibility that when we will get 0? So let's take any number that where you can get 0. Suppose for example, I have a number today. I'll take 40. Suppose 40 is there. Now this number is ending with 0. I've just taken randomly any number which ends with 0. Now this, if I take the prime factorization of this, I can write 4 into 2, that is 2 into 2 into 2 into 5. Correct? Take any other number. For example, I take 250. Okay, the number ending with 0. We are trying to find the condition, that what is the condition that the number will end with 0. Okay, so if I take 250, I can just first split as 25 into 10, then I can say 5 into 5, 25 and 5 into 2. So here we understand that if you want one, that is units place, to end with only 1 0, you must have 2 and 5 as a prime factor, because 10, 2 into 5. So you must have 2 and 5 as a prime factor. That means for any number, for any natural number to end with 0, the condition is there, you must have 2 and 5 as a prime factor. If you have 2 and 5 as a prime factor, then the number will end with 0. Correct? Do you understand that? Suppose a number has to end with 2 digits as 0. That means you should have end with 2 zeros. Then the simple, then you should have 2 into 5 more. For example, suppose I have 2500. So I'll write 25 into 100. So if the number has to end with 2 zeros, then I should have 10 square. That means I should have how many times a pair of 2 into 5, 2 into 5. So I should have 2 times, 5 2 times, and vice versa. Correct? So this is the condition for the number to end with 0. So for any number to end with 0, it must have 2 and 5 as a prime factor. I hope that condition is understood. So now let's check on and write. If this come for 2 to 3 marks, it can come for either 2 or 3 marks, that's it. How are you going to write the step? You cannot say no, it doesn't end with 0, or you cannot write that 4 raised to 1 I showed you, 4 square 16, so it will not end with 0. No, you will not get any marks. This is a practical example we are showing that is it possible. Here, as I said, this chapter is little theoretical, where you have to use prime factorization, Euclidization lemma and show it. You cannot give examples and justify, correct? So here we will first write, since exercise here, prime factorization. What is the prime factorization of 4 raised to n? 4 raised to n can be written as 2 into 2 the whole raised to n. Do you all agree? So here we find that when we factorize 4 can be factorized as only 2 into 2. So 2 is the only prime factor of 4. 2 is the only prime factor of 4. How can we say that 2 is the only prime factor? By that arithmetic, FTA, by fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So here that fundamental theorem of arithmetic you have to write. You have to mention that what does the fundamental theorem of arithmetic says? That every composite number can be expressed as the product of primes in a unique way, okay? And except for the order, you cannot have any other primes other than this. Unique means. So here that we have to use, and it's very important that you have to mention why you are saying. So here 4 raised to n, first I factorize is 2 into 2. That is the whole raised to n. So this can be written as 2 raised to n, 2 raised to n. Even if you don't write, it's okay. This is n. So from this, what do you understand? So here, therefore, by fundamental theorem of arithmetic, you should not write any short form. Huh? By fundamental theorem of arithmetic, 2 is the only prime. 2 is the only prime or unique prime. Is the only prime in 4 raised to n. This word is very, very important in boards. You will lose your half marks if you don't write. So here the important role, as I said that day, by fundamental theorem of arithmetic, 2 is the only prime in 4 raised to n. It is the only prime in this. So 2 is the only prime. Therefore, here we know that if it is the only prime in 4 raised to n, and we cannot have any other prime other than 2, correct? Can we? So if 2 is a prime, which is the other prime factor which is missing? That is 5, right? So we have already said that if a number has to end with 0, it must have 2 and 5. It must have 2 and 5. So 2 is there. So this implies 5 does not occur. Wait, I will just change. So this implies 5 is not the prime factor. 5 is not the prime factor of 4 raised to n. I hope I just clear the steps. See, first I wrote 4 raised to n is 2 into this. I have prime factorized this, so I got 2 raised to n, 2 raised to n. So by fundamental theorem of arithmetic, it guarantees that 2 is the only prime in 4 raised to n. We cannot have any other prime. So this implies what? 5 is not the prime factor. Why I am writing that 5 is not the prime factor? Because for any number to end with 0, it must have 2 and 5. So 5 is not there. So 5 is not the prime factor of 4 raised to n. Therefore, 4 raised to n, there is no natural number. There is no natural number for which you have to write all the number for which 4 raised to n ends with digit 0. Right? Suppose the question was 7 raised to n. Okay? If it was 7 raised to n, then what steps you would have written? You will just write 7 raised to n is nothing but 7 into 1. Right? And then you will write a step that for, now here I have written that 2 is the only prime factor and 5 is not the prime factor of 4 raised to n. If you want, if it is for 3 markers, we can say this also we can include that for any natural number, to end with 0, it must have 2 and 5 as its prime factor, and then we conclude that will be more appropriate. Therefore there is no natural number. So I don't want your marks to lose. You have to each and every step. So we have written first the prime factorization, and I said by fundamental theorem of arithmetic it guarantees that 2 is the only prime factor, so 5 is not the prime factor. Then we are writing the condition that for any natural number to end with 0, it must have 2 and 5 as the prime factor. So if it is 7 raised to n, so for this question 7 raised to n, it has to, here we can again will say by fundamental theorem of arithmetic, 7 is the only prime in 7 raised to n. 7 and 1, right? They are only prime. So for any natural number to end with 0, it must have 2 and 5 is prime factor. There is no, okay. So here by fundamental theorem of arithmetic we have said this. Therefore 7 raised to n cannot end with digit 0. In the textbook they have given 6 raised to n. So if it is 6 raised to n, then 6 can be written as 2 into 3 raised to n. That is 2 raised to n into 3 raised to n. So it has again 2. So again what is missing? 5. So here we can also write a step this way, that for 6 raised to n, to end with digit 0, for 6 raised to n to end with digit 0, it must have 5 as a prime factor, because 2 is already present. So only 5 must be there. So it must have 5 as a prime factor, which is not there, because by fundamental theorem of arithmetic 2 and 3 are the only primes in 6 raised to n. Therefore 6 raised to n can never end with digit 0. I hope that is very clear for you. So if 6 is there, we know that 2 is there, so 5 is missing. So here we have just written, so 5 is not the prime factor of 4 raised to n, therefore that is, it cannot end with digit 0. If 7 is there, then we must write this condition, is very important. If 7 raised to n, that means it must have 2 and 5. Suppose for example 5 raised to n, if you want that, prove that for 5 raised to n it has to end with 0. So 5, here what is missing? So for this case, if it comes for 2 marks, what will you write? You will write 5 has, by fundamental theorem of arithmetic, 5 has only 5 as its only prime factor. So therefore this implies 2 is not the prime factor in 5 raised to n. Therefore you have written by fundamental theorem of arithmetic that 5 is the only prime factor of 5 raised to n, and then since 2 is not the prime factor of 5 raised to n, therefore for no natural number or for any natural number 5 raised to n will not end with digit 0. I hope that is very clear for you, right? So this is very important, and you really have to write the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. That particular label is very important. Okay, let's go for the next question. Explain why 7 into 11 into 13 plus 13 are composite number. There are 2 sub questions. One I will solve, the second one you will do. Okay. Now you have to prove that they are composite number only for 2 marks. Now whenever you have to prove that it is a composite number, means it has more than 2 factors. Prime number has only 2 factors, 1 and itself. So composite for a number means it has more than 2 factors. That's it you have to prove. So if it's for 2 marks, here just see 7 into 11 into 13 plus, you have to prove this solution. It's a composite number. Now first you see what kind of number. Is it a monomial? Is it a binomial? Is it trinomial? What kind of number is it? Now here when I multiply, this becomes one number and this is other number. So this is in the form of A plus B, sum of 2 numbers. So we find that it is a sum of 2 numbers, one number here and one number here. Okay. Now can I simplify this? Can you see that it has a now common number 13. So if I take 13 common, what will I get? 7 into 11. See, out of 13, here 13 I have taken common, 7 into 11 plus 1. Correct? And which can again be written as here 13. So here I have 7 into 11 is nothing but 77 plus 1. So here I have 13 into 78. Correct? So here this also 78 can be 78 into 1. So this step also I can say it has more than 2 factors. Therefore, it is a composite number. Or just to more generalize, we don't have to multiply it. I know that's an 8, so the number is divisible by 2. So 2 into what will give? 2 3s are 6. 70 times just factorizing it. Same in this. 2 3s are 6. 1 2 9 is 18. So I can write. That's it. So here we can say, since it has more than two factors, therefore it is a composite number. That's it. So here you don't have to solve it, you just have to split it and show that it has more than two factors. That's it. You don't have to multiply and waste your time. I hope this is clear. So you just have to find common, and composite number means you have to prove that it has more than two factors. Correct? Moving to the last sum of exercise 1.2, let's understand. There is a circular path around a sports field. Sonia take 18 minutes to drive one round of the field. So Sonia takes 18 minutes to drive one round of the field. So Sonia is taking 18 minutes to go one round. Okay, for one round. And next is, while Ravi is taking 12 minutes for the same. So Ravi is taking 12 minutes. So Ravi is a boy, he takes early, he completes one round. Okay. They both start, suppose they both start at the same point. So both starting points, a circular field. So it's a circular field you can find. Both are starting from the same point. So Sonia and Ravi, but Sonia is taking 18 minutes while Ravi takes 12 minutes. Now they both start the same point at the same time and they go in the same direction. So direction is all the same. It's not one is going the opposite, so both in the same direction. After how many minutes will they meet again at the same starting point? Correct? Let's try to understand the question before we see what we have to do actually. So here, Sonia is taking 18 minutes for one round. So Sonia is taking, for one round she is taking 12 minutes. Okay. So for two round, she will take 24 minutes. Okay, I have written wrong. 18 minutes. Okay. So for one round, Sonia will take 18 rounds. So for second round, 18 plus 18, she'll take 36. Third round, she'll complete in 54 minutes. Somewhere they should meet. Okay, so let's see here. So 54 minutes. Okay, what about Ravi? Let's say Ravi. For the first round, he will take 12 minutes. Second round, here he take 24 minutes. Third round, he will take 36 minutes. See, so here you can find that when Ravi is completing third round 36 minutes and Sonia is doing her second round in 36 minutes, they both in this 36 minutes they will meet. Okay, when she is coming two round and she is coming third round. So what I have done actually, here I have done the multiple of 18 2s are, 18 3s are, here 12 2s are, it is this. So here we have to find the LCM of both the numbers. Okay, now here students usually get confused when we have to do HCF and LCM. I'm not understanding. Okay, let's see if you have not understood this concept. Suppose let's understand that you have to find HCF for the same problem. Okay, so 18 and 12. If I take the HCF of 18 and 12, what will I get? So sometimes by practically, if you don't understand, so try by hook or crook. Suppose if I take HCF, so 2 9s are 18, so I'll get 2 into 3 square, and for 12 I'll get 2 4s are, 2 6s are 12, so 2 square into 3. Correct? If I take HCF of this, what will I get here? HCF I'll get is 2 is a product of the smallest power. So common here it is 2. The smallest power here and here 3, 6. Is HCF possible when Sonia is taking 18 minutes to complete one round and Ravi is taking 12 minutes? So will they meet in 6 minutes? Not possible. Okay, for completing the round, it's not possible, it's less than that. So obviously, we should take LCM. Sometimes when we get confused, you try to take both. Is it possible for the situation? From that practicality you will understand whether it is possible or not possible. Okay, so in this case, Here you will write number of the time taken by Sonia to complete one round 80 minutes, time taken by Ravi to complete one round, that is 12 minutes. Therefore, the time when they will meet together is equals to LCM of 18 and 12. So you write in the form of prime factorization. Then we do LCM. Steps I'll give you notes. So therefore now here we can find LCM. So the product of greatest power of each prime factor involved. So greatest power of 2 is 2 square. Greatest power of here, this is 3 square because here 3 square. So 4 into 9, that is 36. We have already seen. So they will take 36 minutes to complete, to meet again. So as I said, what is confusing that you have to read the question and try to understand that if I find HCF, what you will get, when I find LCM, what you will get, and then you can really understand the practical situation, right? Exercise 1.2, I hope you have understood very thoroughly. It is very easy and scoring. Okay, please try out the homework and do it sincerely. Bye. Thank you.